Teen Life Hacker here. Happy holidays and Feliz Navidad! Check it out! Oh, I have been waiting to wear this shirt forever. Oh, I'm so glad it is December and I can wear my Feliz Navidad shirt. Ta-da! Look, it's got the cutest little bug. I really don't know what it is, so if someone else, write in the comments below, because I just keep calling it a pug, but I'm not sure it's true. Some dog lover I am, right? Alright, so today's topic is going to be on one that I have not said until the end of my field work, and it's gonna be a little bit of a serious topic. So we got the fun stuff out of the way. Actually, no, it's still in the picture. But, buddy guys. So, in any profession, you can experience this. You can experience sexual harassment from your colleagues, from others that you work with, or clients, customers, higher up. Anyone really. And in my field work, I was working in the hospital, and there were many occasions of inappropriate behavior from the clientele, from the patients. And in our classes, we learned about setting boundaries, and I think that's one of the most important things that you need to do when you first walk into the room, state who you are, and convey what you do for occupational therapy. And so I'm going to give you the key tips that I've learned. And honestly, I'm still learning, because my baseline and what I honestly knew would be a challenge for me is that I am nice. I am too nice, too lenient. And granted, there is the dynamic of being in the presence of your fieldwork supervisor, or having fieldwork and worrying that what if something happens to your fieldwork if you experience this and tell them. So that there is a lot of that, and to be honest, I'm being very transparent with you guys. This is why I'm saving it to the end of my field work, sharing it with all of you, because hopefully for those of you who will go into your field work, you will have this advice to give you to prevent such unwarranted behavior from happening. And you'll know how to approach it, how to set those boundaries. Setting boundaries is extremely important, and it can be really hard because you understand very well that everything is kind of individualized. You customize the session to what's appropriate for the patient, and you provide that therapeutic use of self. Now, do not, like what I've done, confuse what therapeutic use of self is and be too lenient on your boundaries, because sometimes you think that the patient just needs to be heard and to be validated, but sometimes that validation can be misinterpreted or mislead the patient into thinking that their behavior is okay. And so on my very last day of field work, that's what took the cake. And also that sadly tells you that I still have so much to learn, and once I'm out of being a fieldwork student, it is going I don't like to think it that way, but there are a lot of things that as a fieldwork student you worry about. And I won't lie, I've been well aware of things that have happened to others out there who had spoken out, and there had been retribution in a not great way, and in a very not great way. And so because this was already the last day of my field work, well, here's how it played out. So in this session, I came in with my supervisor. We both were there working with this patient initially. And so my fieldwork supervisor was talking with the patient. And when he's there, I am a little less, I'm not mean in any case, but I was a little less firm on what I would like to say if something happened, because if he's there, he would be one to be able to show me how to respond to a situation. So I was, in this case, with the behavior, observing how he handled it. And what happened was the patient was talking about, so several warnings there. The patient was talking about he's married, but he has a girlfriend. He lives with his girlfriend. He has many girlfriends. And so when I asked him, can we get up? And this is the way that my supervisor likes to do it, ask versus saying that they have to get up, and everyone has a different approach. And so it's typical that I'm to ask, can we get up? Can you get up? Would you like to participate in therapy? And the patient said, if you give me incentive, will you give me a kiss? And I had things I wanted to say, as that's inappropriate. Do not say something like that, or this will terminate our session. But no, my supervisor was there, and the way he handled it is, no, you cannot do that. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But my supervisor had left shortly after, and it was just me and the patient. The patient was sitting up. When it was time to get the patient back to bed, that's when things got very inappropriate. I had to hold on to the patient, and because they needed a lot of help getting back into bed, well, I take that back. They needed half help, because clearly they had good function of their parts of their body. And so getting the patient back to bed, I had to hold on to them. And the way we do it, or the way that you could do it, is having 2 points, 3 points of contact, which means having different areas that you support on the person. And so I was helping to support the person. The person interpreted as a hug and had their hand slide down to an inappropriate place that I almost slapped their hand for, but I did not do that. I said, because I was still trying to get them back to bed and I couldn't just drop them, you know. I had to bring them back and say that is very inappropriate and I will have to report this. I reported to my supervisor, and I honestly would have loved to report it higher up, because I would not want others to have to go through this. They would at least know. So I was telling people about the patient, forewarning them, whoever might work with them later, as long as it's relevant to them. But, you know, it can be really hard, because as a student you have, if my supervisor doesn't express that I should tell the higher ups, then I cannot go over their head and do it. Not saying that my supervisor did not say I couldn't, but because it wasn't made, I had informed him and he didn't see it as like it wasn't seen as a big thing, then I was like, okay, I'll let it go. But it is really, really frustrating. It can be really frustrating, and it's very respectful, no doubt. And I know there's things between disinhibition and inappropriate behavior, and this was clearly not disinhibition. It was more intentional behavior, and that you initiate it when there's a female in the room and not the male. So he would not be touching the male's butt. When the male got him up, he did not touch the male's butt. That did not happen. When it was me, that's when things were, you need to set your boundaries. And so hopefully after telling him that, the patient learned that, okay, I cannot do this because then I won't have therapy. Which, maybe that's what they want. Who knows? But for many of you who are out there and who have experienced this, please do share in the comments below. If it's too personal, that's completely fine. And honestly, this is pretty personal, but this is something that I feel needs to be shared with everyone, because it's not, no words for it. In my head, I'm like, there's a lot of different thoughts going in, but you cannot do that because you are the customer service. So if you have different ideas on how you would approach it, please do share in the comments below. The way that I said I approach it and the way that I am learning is good for me to approach, and other ways I'm still learning. Here's what it is. So again, I said set those boundaries. Next time if I walk into that room, or walk into any room, I will say, hi, I'm Jasmine from Occupational Therapy. We're here to help you with this. And I might even say, depending on how I assess the situation, I might even say, we cannot tolerate inappropriate behavior. If anything happens, we will need to terminate the session. So that might be important to say up front, so that they know, do not mess with me, but do not overstep the boundaries. It is a therapy session. It is meant to be therapeutic for you, but we are not going to do something that's inappropriate and uncomfortable for the therapist, for whoever is seeing you. And then also, throughout the session, set those boundaries. So if you have them hold on to you, tell them, keep your hand here. You'll find what works for you, but making sure their hand, or even telling them, do not put your hands on me at all. That could be another way of doing it. Or just using the gait belt, so that way they're not as close to you. You have the gait belt, but you don't have to be as close and have your hands wrapped around them. And for many of you who may not know what a gait belt is, that is simply a belt that you put on the patient to keep them secure in your hand if something happens when you're walking to the bathroom, or having them get dressed and they're standing up and they lean back or fall back. Then you have the gait belt to hold on to them. And I've had a couple times where patients have tripped over something while going to the bathroom. There's many wires in the bathroom, in the room. And so be very, very careful. Have your hand over their belt. And also make sure that it might help a lot to check with the other therapists if they've worked with them. In this case, it was an evaluation, so we were the first to see this patient. And if there is inappropriate behavior, definitely make note of it. Tell the people that you need to tell. Report it, because it is absolutely not to be tolerated. Your safety should not be put at risk for, it's not even the betterment of the patient at all. So you need to put your foot down. And it can be hard to determine what is inappropriate behavior, because, for example, someone can tease and say, you're my hospital wife, or you're my hospital girlfriend, or you're pretty, or something, make some sort of comments. And you may think, okay, should I just let this go? They're just joking with me. But it can be, again, set those boundaries to say whatever you're comfortable with. I will not preface what you should say. If you want my advice, you can write in the comments below and I can answer your questions. And others can chime in and give their input on how they would approach whatever experience you've encountered, because the purpose of OT Lifehacker, my channel, is also to be a good foundation community for all of us to give input, share what our experiences are, how we can improve in such and such ways. So please do write in the comments below how you would handle encounters of inappropriate behavior by the patients. And even if it's subtle behavior, it can grow into something more, especially if you're seeing them multiple times. Alright, so that is my take on how to handle inappropriate behaviors by your patients. Please do write in the comments below what you think. And please do subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I appreciate all of you guys. Feliz Navidad! Alright, talk to you later. Bye!